All right, well, that is what it is. So the question for those who are just joining us is, how do we deal with this whole business of grouped frequency distributions? What am I going to be expecting of you on the exam next week? I've already got a practice exam online. It's something you can go check it out this weekend. But here's a good example of this. This is a list of grades for an exam that I gave last year in a class similar to this. And so I like on the quiz as well as on the exam, I'll give you some data like this, and I'll ask you to group these data into a certain number of groups, and I'll even tell you the starting point. So here, I'll make up a problem related to this that we can do on paper. We'll do it, and then we'll see if that's sufficient. And if you have further questions, we can do that. So anyway, give me a sec here. Grades. I know you can't see what I just am writing, but I will put that group. Okay, just a minute. I'll show you what I'm writing. Okay, there it is. There we go. Thank you for your patience. It's so I understand that that campus was pretty hopping. Is that right? With the past 2 days, 3 days? Yeah, it's like parties and stuff. No? Okay. Yes. Okay. I know math coffee hour happened. I didn't go because I had a conflict. Like I said, I've been dealing some stuff that is unrelated to my job, but so I was thankful to be able to take care of some issues. But yeah, I was told that there's a good time was had by all at math coffee hour on Wednesday, despite the fact that we were supposedly closed. But anyway, so we're going to group these. Group. Uh, um, let's see. Group. Let me see. I'll even use the same language as is on the quiz, and as you know, I take my quizzes and I turn them into the exam. So it says, let's see, construct a grouped frequency histogram of the data in the space provided, group the data into 5 equal sized intervals. So in this case, though, I want you to group into 6 equal intervals with the first interval starting, I know, I hate doing things extemporaneously, but this is what we're doing, starting with 41. How's that? So we have grades over here, and I want you to group this into 6 groups, starting with 41 as here's the actual language. Your first interval should use 41 as its lower class limit. And I even have this on the grid here. I've got a little table for you to fill in. And so we'll even make the table. Ooh, that's not our stuff down there. Can I get rid of that? Yeah, apparently I can. Just a minute. You don't want to see that. It's scary. Okay, so what's that? Yeah, you know what that is. Okay, well, you don't want to look at it either. We'll do it later. Okay, so the grades. So here's how we're gonna do this. So I actually have this table sort of on here to get you started. I have lower class limit, upper class limit, and I feel like I don't even know what I've made on my video for you, or even if you watch the video. I have stopped looking at YouTube analytics because it's so depressing. Anyway, like I used to think that everyone was watching my videos, and then I looked one time and it was like out of a class of 40, there were 3 views. And it's like, what am I doing? I'll still make the videos though because I care. But anyway, getting back to this. So this is the sort of thing that your quiz, your exam will have. It'll say, do this starting with 41 is the lower class limit. So let's think through this. If we want 6 equal sized groupings, starting with 41, apparently someone's car alarm is going off. Starting with 41, we're going to have to include 100, aren't we? So how big are these groups going to be? Does anyone know just offhand? You want to take a guess? Hayden knows. What do you think? Well, technically 10. 10, if you think about it, from 40 to 100, divide by 6, you get 10. So it's technically 10, even though you're going to look at this and say, oh, that's only 9. But yeah, it's 41 to 50. So let's go 41 to 50, 51 to 60. That seems like a good way of breaking this up. That way everything will be in a group, and um, uh, yeah, everything will have a group, and we'll be able to sort things out. The groups don't overlap. They're all the same size. So this has all the hallmarks of a good grouped frequency distribution. 71 to 80, 81 to 90, and then 91 to 100. So now we know exactly where everyone belongs. I realize that some of you might be like, wait a minute, we should do 40 to 49. Okay, whatever. I mean, there are probably other ways to do this. You could also, let's see what the minimum is here. Just a sec. Oh, wrong screen. Hold on a minute. There it is. Let's see. Let's just sort this. So we can go up to data and sort. I can't see a thing. Now I can see. So sort this. Let's see. Cancel. Okay, just a minute. I just have to highlight apparently. Sort that. That better? Yeah. Continue. Sorry about this. Okay, so it looks like the lowest grade is 47. So if you start, well, actually, there's not much wiggle room, is there? If you start with 41, we're going to be counting by 10s. You could probably count by 11s or 12s, and I couldn't mark that wrong. If you want to go 41 to 51, then 52 to 62, and then 63 to 73. You get my picture? You could do that. That's kind of silly, though. I'm not going to do that. I'll do it the normal way, the way we would expect. Now that we have this, and on the quiz and the test, I will sort the data for you so that you don't have to count and might miss something, so it'll be really obvious. So let's go ahead and count. 47, 47, 50. There's 3. The next one, 54, 55, 59. There's 3. Okay, we're doing great. Then let's see, 62, 62, 65, 70, 70. That's 5. Did I get that right? I think so. Doesn't matter because I'm going to write the key to this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. I'm just going to have to figure it out by doing this. Up to this. Wow. What does it say down there? There's 15. 15 of them. So you could count this on your fingers. It's fine. On the quiz, you're going to have to count it on your fingers because you're just going to say, oh, there they are. Then let's see, 81 through 82 through 90. Ooh, there's a lot of those as well. I'm glad this class did so well. This is real data. This isn't fake data, by the way. Let's see, that's 10 people scored in that range. Nice job. Those students. And then there's a few, not as many A's as I would have expected. I wonder what went wrong. Well, 6. That's still not too bad, is it? So there's my grouped frequency distribution. So you did this on the quiz, although you did it in Excel, maybe with the data analysis tool pack. Okay, maybe not. Some of you are like, what? Okay, watch the video. You'll figure it out. And then you're going to make a histogram. In Excel, you can make this pretty easily. I don't think you had to make a histogram for Newton. I mean, how would they know? That's the thing. I don't know if some of you figured this out, but in Newton, it says, do this hard thing using Excel, and you're looking at the question, you're saying, why can't I just count? Like, you don't really have to use Excel. Honestly, you could just count, but yeah. So if you did that, I don't fault you, and I won't know. You don't have to tell me, except Hayden just did. But you don't have to tell me that you did. That's fine. I mean, I would as well if I were in your shoes, to be honest. But you should know how to use Excel. This is important for the reason why I do Excel and why I started doing Excel. I used to use calculators, but I figured out that a lot of you are going into jobs where familiarity with Excel will be helpful. Just not to be scared of it. You don't have to be an Excel expert. It's just good to be able to not be scared when you hit it, when you have to use Excel. Okay, so let's make this histogram. It's going to be quick. And then we can move on to the quiz, I think, because we've basically shown you what the quiz is. So I would do something like this. Maybe, I don't really care how you mark this off. I'm going to just mark it like this, even though this is not really proper. I think this is the way I bumped up against this. If you watched the video, the very last problem that I did, I was a little annoyed with because this is the way they did it, even though this isn't quite correct, but I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. But anyway, so notice that I just have the upper class limits, not the lower class limits, whatever. And so let's see, the frequency of 3, 1, 2, 3, let's put a bar, put another bar. Let's see, 5 goes up to there. I don't think I've left myself enough room for 15. So we'll just do this. Okay, 15 is up there. And then 10, you get the gist of what's happening. So let's see, 15, 10, we'll put there. And then the last one is 6. So that's what I'm looking for, what I'm hoping for. By the way, now that we've got this here, if I had to describe the shape of this distribution, we never got to do this because we were remote, but the shape, I would call this skewed. This is a skewed distribution, just to show you the different shapes. Ooh, that's scary. The shapes, here's a shape. This shape I would call symmetric. Now I'm drawing a curve here, but you can sort of imagine looking at a histogram like this, not that, this, and sort of rounding off all of the boxes so that this ends up being a nice curve. It would look something like this. So this is symmetric, just for future reference. It's not on the quiz, but this is like bonus material. So that's symmetric. This is skewed. Notice that that has a long tail on one side. So the one up there, the one that we just did, is more like this. You've got a big hump over on the right, and it tapers off to the left. This is skewed to the, skewed to the right. Hold on a minute before you go bonkers. And this one is skewed to the left. This one is symmetric. Okay, now before you go nuts, I want to just let you know you are not crazy. It feels wrong, doesn't it? It doesn't feel right to call this one skewed right. It doesn't feel right to call this skewed left. I understand. Here's the logic, and just get over it, is that you have the bulk of the observations are over here, and then you have a few that are over to the right. So it's skewed to the right. And you know, over here on this one, most of the observations are here, and then you have a few that got kind of pushed off that direction. So it got skewed to the left. So I know it doesn't feel right. So if it feels backwards, you know, that's, I agree. But just get over it and just say, okay, it's going to feel backwards, and you're just going to do it that way. So when this question does come up, skewed right is the little taper is off to the right. Skewed left, you're kind of tapering off to the left. Symmetric is this. I don't know. There's other shapes that we didn't get. They're in my PowerPoint somewhere. But let's go ahead and try this quiz, because the quiz is basically this. So if you understood what we just did, it's kind of what you did on your homework. Let's give it a quiz and give you a grade in the grade book so that we can all have hundreds in here today. It's going to be fun. So do your best, and there's going to be a question. Some of you are going to say, how wide? Like, should I go count by 10s? Should I count by 20s? I don't care. Just follow the instructions. As long as you have, in this case, 5 groups, 5 groups. That's all I care about. You're going to be fine. I think you're going to be able to figure it out based on the numbers. Do your best. Hayden, tell me. I don't know. I would put like the midpoints, to be honest. That's what I would do. But, you know, I think it's okay. It's okay the way that they did it on there. Doesn't bother me that much. It just was irritating that I got it wrong. That's what I'm really irritated with. That I was videotaping. Oh, you got, after I see, I thought, well, at least I'm going to get it wrong, so you don't have to. You know, and you still did. Okay, here you are. All right, there. Does everyone have a copy? You don't have a copy? Oh man, I'm sorry. And then I'll get it for the people online. Not to worry, if you're watching the video, I'm going to get this for you. Let's see. Is this it? Which one is this? Quiz 5. Okay, there it is. I'm just going to talk for a minute to the people watching the video, probably 0 people. So just pause the video and you can do this on your own. You can see what it looks like. All right, I'm done. I'm making my little key here, and as I'm marking off the x-axis, the money axis, I'm using the upper class limits because lower class limits look dumb. So I'm not going to be picky about that, I guess, even though I was a little bit curmudgeon-y about my Newton efforts. So that was more just because I was irritated I got it wrong on the video. So do whatever looks good to you, it's fine. Well, hopefully you're coming down the home stretch. Really not too difficult once you might be hard to count, but you don't feel like it has to be a perfect looking graph. Just, make your bars as best you can. And then when you're done, go ahead and pass your paper over towards the middle. I'll come get it, and we'll all celebrate. Come get your special. Thank you. All right, Carson. All set? Oh, you gave me a bonus. I like it. Nice. That looks beautiful. All set? Very nice. Beautiful. Oh. Okay, great. You know what? I just remembered. Oh, did you want yours back all of a sudden? What do you need to label? Just a minute. Oh, wait. Yes, someone needs to. Okay, which is that you? Okay, good. Yeah, this reminds me. I meant to say this earlier, so don't worry if you already turned it in and you did not do this, but it's really helpful if you have your first and last name on there, at least until I become familiar with who you are, but even beyond, just for alphabetization as I put grades in. You want yours back too, Will? Okay. You didn't read what? It looks great. No, you've already. Yeah, look, you labeled. Oh, that's the label. Just so that you're not, yeah, no, you're doing great. Yeah, that's beautiful. Didn't I put that for you? Doesn't it say money? Yeah, frequency. That's not sufficient? Man, what in the world? Oh, that is beautiful. Yeah, don't overthink it. Looking good. You're doing great. All right, so let's try to wrap things up here so we can move on. Oh, look, you gave me the bonus as well. Yeah, I didn't ask for the curve, but you gave it to me. Nice job. All right, excellent. Good job. Very nice. Alec, all right. Excellent. Thank you so much. Good job. Good job. Oh, oh, yes, it is a pain. I'll do my best to interpret your scrawl. All right, let's see. Anyone else? A few people, they're still meditating on their graph. Yeah, just throw a bunch of rectangles there. It'll be okay. You probably have, I mean, seriously, just put your rectangles. It'll be good. Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, you gave me the curve too. All right. Oh, that's old. You're just checking your work. Nice job. All right, last few back here. Let me see. Trinity, thank you. It's okay. So while these last couple of people are putting their final rectangles on, let me just show you where we're going to find our stuff for today. Just a minute, I'll unfreeze this. So we're going to be using on Moodle under classwork Excel files. I've got basic graphs for Friday, January 24th. I'm not confident that when you download it, it'll be named that. Let me see what mine was called. Oh, it just says basic graphs. So you can download that and have your Excel fired up and ready to go so that we're all on the same page. All right, so this row, we're good now? As good as it's gonna get? Oh, you have rectangles. Okay, I'm coming for you. All right, thank you so much. Okay, I can't use pink now for my grading. Oh well, I've got purple, don't worry. Okay, so do I have all the quizzes? Let me make sure. Okay, let's staple them together. Okay, so here's what I have. We change over. We'll get to the Excel stuff in a minute. So I thought, we've got to go up to 45.01. If that was a little bit lower, you could just count by nines. But I thought counting by tens would be good. But that's not the only way to do this, but I thought that's the most logical way. You might have chosen to count by some other crazy thing of, I don't know, like if you count by $9.15, you could do that. But so I'm not going to mark you wrong if you don't do the exact same thing that I do, as long as you're consistent. Because I didn't tell you how big the classes should be, just that it would be all contained. So I'm counting by tens. So I go up to $10 for my first class, and you can see I've kind of marked things off. So there's just one person in that range. And then the next range is $10.01 to $20. And there were 8 people, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I got it right. And then the next grouping is $20.01 to $30, then $30.01 to 40, 40.01 to 50. So we've got our data there. And then the last thing is just to make your graph. And like I said, I interrupted you. I just was like, I'm not going to put 0.01 down and 10.01. That's going to look dumb. So I just used the upper class limits. So here's what my graph looks like. And the labels, by labels, I just meant these numbers. Whoops. Well, I guess we're highlighting these numbers down here. That was all I meant. It's just so that we know what we're talking about. You could have put other labels if you want. By the way, as I look at this graph, I know we just went over this whole business of whether you have it's symmetric or skewed one way or the other. Honestly, I would call this symmetric. I know it's not symmetric, okay? I understand that it is not symmetric, but it is almost, it's the thing that makes it not symmetric is these 2 bars. So this one and this one. If one person was up here from there, it would be almost exactly the same. Real data is almost never perfect. And so when we say symmetric, we mean approximately symmetric. If you squint, it looks kind of symmetric, kind of. That's what we mean. If you look at the numbers, 1, 8, 10, 5, 1, that looks pretty symmetric. I know it's not perfect. Statistics is never perfect. So we can't, don't expect perfection out of your statistics. You'll be disappointed. Okay, so let us move on. So today we need to cover a couple of items. Let's see. First off, I guess I have this. Just a minute. Oh, also, before I forget, this homework tab is terrible. It's terrible. I acknowledge that, okay? So it's terrible. I'm going to fix this. Just give me a day or two here. I think what I'm going to do is I will break this up. See, the problem with the homework tab is you're scrolling forever at this point. So I think what I'll do is I'll break it up. I mean, ideally, it would be nice to break it up by week. But if I did that, I would have 13 or 14 different tabs for the homework. So I think what I'll do is I'll break it up by test. So I'll take all this stuff for the first test, shove it on this tab. It'll be like homework part 1, and then homework part 2 and 3 and 4. So I'll try to make that more clear. Also, this business of, like having these notes in here, I don't know if they're clear or not. I'll try to verbally tell you, though. For example, on Monday, you're going to do 2 assignments. They're just 2 sections. It's not that big of a deal. They're pretty easy. So just be aware of that. So I've got, I'm just sort of breaking it up, but you can look for the date and then this. And then at the end of this week, since we have a test next Friday, I'll put the rest of the homework in another tab. So I'll make things look at least a little bit more manageable. But if it's still horrible after next week in terms of trying to figure out what you're supposed to do, hopefully you can figure it out. But if it's still hard, let me know. I'll try to change. Speaking of exams, I guess one more thing before we get started on the Excel is I have a tab that has magically appeared called Practice Exams. And you can see these top two, Test 1 Practice and Test 1 Practice with alleged answers. So this was a test that I gave in the past, and I think spring of 2024. And I wrote up answers. So when you click on this, this isn't till next Friday, just so you know. But this is similar to what your exam will be. There will be some changes. I think it's a little longer than your. Yeah, this is definitely longer. This is not the exam I gave a year ago. This is more than the exam I gave, but it's good practice. So your exam will have all of those topics, just less of them. And then I have the alleged answers embedded, so you can see I've written up my answers and that I hope are correct. I always say alleged because I make mistakes. And so if I make a mistake, you just let me know, oh, I found this mistake. And I'll be like, oh, thank you. And we will move on. So it's just the way it is, especially as I'm getting older, mistakes are made. Okay, so back to this Excel. So what we're doing today is we're going to do all of the qualitative stuff. So here, let me grab this. Oops, is this big? Huge. Okay, so if you were to look at this basic graphs Excel sheet, you'll find a bunch of different tabs. One of them is color. So I wanted to direct your attention to the color tab because that's going to be what we're going to be doing today. So here's what we'll do is I will show you a couple of things that Excel does for us. Then I will go to Newton and show you how you can cheat the system and not use Excel. So I just want to be upfront with you. I'd like you to try to use Excel at least for one or two of the problems, but as you're going to see, just like with the homework for today, it's not entirely necessary. So we have favorite color, and we're going to make a bar graph of these favorite colors. We're going to start out the same way that we did, the same way that we did on the videos for Wednesday, and that is to highlight the data. So notice what I've done is I've highlighted the data. Now at this point, this is a great time to ask questions if you got stuck, because we're going to be doing the same things that we did, at least that I did on Wednesday. I don't know if you followed along or not. So here's how we do this. In order to get just the unique, make a list of all the colors, we could do it by looking with our eyes and say, look, there's yellow, green, orange, purple. I could make a list that way, or we can get Excel to do it pretty easily. The way you do this is you click this advanced filter. Whoops, not that. Sorry, I've got to remember my keyboard shortcuts. Is it this? Nope. What is it? Nope. I'll have to figure. Yeah, I'll figure it out later. Okay, but anyway, you can barely see up there on the ribbon. You have this is on the data tab. You have sort and filter, and depending on how big of a screen you have, it might be all compressed, but you're going to find the advanced filtering. That's what we're going to be using. So when you click that advanced filtering, it says, Microsoft found a row. No, I don't want to include that row. I've highlighted what I want to include. That's the favorite colors. No, apparently. Okay, so this is the sort of thing that comes up. If you need to, you would click this little arrow here next to A1 or A2 colon A32. Click that and highlight the data that you want to sort or filter. Then we're going to click copy to another location because we want to make a copy of these numbers or these words. We're going to have to select where we copy. So follow along, do the best you can. So pick a place probably over here in C2 would be great. So click something in that spreadsheet. And then here's the key is we're going to select unique records only. And it's just bothering me that I can't. Is this what I? Oh, that's it. There. It's pixelated, but it's zoomed. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, so now you can sort of see a little bit better what's going on. So I've selected copy to another location. I have the list range, which is that range. I have selected somewhere else to put my list, and I've selected unique records only. When you click OK at this point, you're going to find that this just does what we want. And that is, it lists off all the favorite colors without duplicates. So we have people who like yellow, people who like green, orange, purple, red, and blue. There it is. So I'll pause, see if anyone has complaints. Yes, sir. Interesting. That's wrong. But everything else is only once? Oh, did you include the word favorite color? Yes, so that's it. It assumes, so this particular function, when you use this, Excel assumes that the top row is the label or the title or the heading. And so it basically will copy this top, whatever is the top of your highlighted section. So if you don't have a label up there, put something up there, like whatever it is, just put a word up there or something, and then include that word, and it will put that word at the top, and then the rest of this. So actually, it only had one yellow on yours. It just thought that the word yellow was the heading. So thank you for pointing that out, because I had that same issue on Wednesday when I did this the first time, and I had to restart my video. It's like, oh, crud, I don't know how to do Excel. Okay, any other issues that you have questions about? All right, yeah, so this is great because this basically is similar to what we were supposed to do Wednesday, so it's good that we can have this review. On Wednesday, we did this with numbers. Here, these are words. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to count this. So next to favorite color, I'm going to put the word frequency. It's kind of not necessary, but I'll do it anyway. And then we're going to do this. So it's going to be equals. Let me make this big now that I remember how to do it. Look at that. Yes. Okay, so we're going to equal count if. And then the range refers to the range of things that you're counting. And so what I'm going to have to do is I do this. I hate my mouse. I don't know if you're like me, but I hate my mouse. I try to avoid it. I love keyboard shortcuts. So I'll tell you the keyboard shortcuts that I use. I'm going to just left arrow over until I get to that top yellow. You see the word yellow? Now I'm going to hold down Control Shift down arrow. And that's going to go to the bottom of that list and highlight everything. Another option is to go over to that top yellow and then hold down Shift and just down arrow until you get to the bottom of the list. You could also use your mouse, but I find that the mouse, especially with a list like this, it has a hard time being, what is it called? Precise. Okay, sorry, my thing is there. So then you're going to put a comma, and now here, we got to see what we're doing. There it is. So comma, and then highlight what it is that you want to count. I want to count all of the yellows that are in this list. Close parentheses. Yeah, and so that's why I highlighted that C3. And notice that it kind of outlines C3 so that you know what you're doing. And it outlines A3 through A32. It's over here in this blue highlighted. And then hit enter and it'll count them. It'll count all the yellows, and we should have 6 yellows. So whenever I'm doing Excel with you in class, there's oftentimes places where people aren't caught up. It's way better if you let me know earlier rather than later. It's always discouraging when I get to the end of class and some kid comes up and says, you know, I got stuck 5 minutes in, and so I just didn't do anything. And so I'm going to need help later. And I'm like, come on, if you just had said something, we could have gotten you, you know, so, I mean, I'll help you later, but it's more efficient if we all work together. So let me know if you get stuck. I can show you what we did a second time. And so you get 6. Now, here's the thing, is you could copy this formula and paste it, but you'll notice a subtle problem with the formula that got copied. When I copy this, notice that the COUNTIF now refers to green, which is what we want, but the range of values that we're counting is just from A4 and it goes down to A34, which is a blank cell. So you're ignoring the top cell. It's okay in this instance because we're counting the word green and the thing that we just omitted was yellow. But to be careful, making sure that we're doing the right thing, we should not do it this way. So the right way to do copying, whenever you copy a formula, let's delete that, is to first of all go into your formula. I'm going to press the F2 key, but you could also double click that, or you could go up to the whatever this cell is called up here in the formula bar. You can see your formula up there. I just like to hit F2 when I'm hovering over this particular cell, press F2, and I get the formula. Now, what I'm going to do, and I'll do this a lot in this class, is when I'm using Excel, I want to tell Excel which of these parts of the formula I don't want to change. So in other words, if I copy this formula to another place in my spreadsheet, I want to always refer to that set of cell references. And so to do that, to sort of solidify that, you put dollar signs in front of anything that you don't want to change. Now, the A isn't all that important because it's not going to change if I copy this, but the 3 and the 32, those are the things that I'm concerned about. And so just to be sure, I'll just put dollar signs everywhere in that blue cell reference there. So it's $A, $3, that says stay on cell A3, no matter where this formula is. And same thing with A32. So anyway, hit enter, shouldn't change anything with that. But here, now if I copy, I'm going to do Control C. Mac people, I think anytime I say control, you just think command, right? Command C. Okay, but anyway, Control C and then Control V. Now, I know the number is still the same, but check this out. Now, the only thing that changed between the yellow and the green is what you're counting. You're counting the green, but you're still dealing with the same set of cells. Anyway, let's go ahead and do this, copy this all the way down. So you can do this one of a couple of ways. I'll show you 3 ways to do this. Number 1 is copy and paste slowly. Why is this doing this? Just a minute. There. That is to say, copy, paste, control, whoops, that was wrong. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. Oh, what just happened? Well, okay. So apparently, if I need to be looking at my screen when I do that. So that's one way. Second way, let me just a sec. Let me, there. Second way is to, here, let's delete these so that you can see that this actually works. So this is another way. If you like touching your mouse, I think my mouse is gross, so I don't like to touch it. But if you like touching your mouse, you can grab, so you'll notice that at the bottom right, when you have something highlighted like this, there's a little square. See that little square? That square is called the handle. So that's the handle. Grab that handle and drag it somewhere, and it will copy that cell wherever you drag it. So if I take that, watch this, grab that, okay, drag down, and then let go. Oh, see, I'm not proficient with my mouse. I didn't get it down to the blue, but you probably could. So that's another way to do this. And it copies the formula. Let's go down here to red. See, it's the same formula, only it's referring to red instead of to yellow or green. One more way, just so you know, this is my preferred way because, oh, no, there's yet another way. Actually, this is kind of cool. Whenever you have a table like this, if you double click the handle, it will figure out where to copy this. So watch this. So this is not my preferred way, but I'll do it this way. Oh, actually it didn't know. Okay, it went too far. Well, at least with mine, it went too far. Yours might have ended. Usually it ends at the bottom of the table, which would be with blue. Okay, let's undo that. Okay, so the final way, this is my favorite way. Doesn't require the mouse at all. Look, oh wait, make sure that my mouse is in the proper place. There it is, so you can see my mouse is there. I won't touch it. Okay, so I've got the cell. So see, I can use my arrow keys. Look how quickly I can move. Okay, so I go to there and I hold down with this finger, I hold down Shift, and then with this finger, I press down arrow, down arrow, down arrow, down arrow, down arrow, down arrow. There, the thing is highlighted. I want to copy this down, so I press Control D or Command D for you people that are suffering with Macintoshes. So Control with this finger, Control D for down, boom. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, I know that was probably more instruction on this than we needed, but there is my frequency distribution. Now that we've got this, the rest of this is super easy, either with your mouse or your keyboard. I like the keyboard. You're going to do that. I'm going to need the mouse now, though, so give me a sec. Let's unhighlight. So now I actually have to use the mouse. Once you have those highlighted, you're going to go up to Insert. I need to see. Insert. There it is. Oops. Insert. Okay, Insert, and you have a bunch of charts that you can choose, and we're going to be choosing a column chart, but let's just click Recommended Charts, or no, better yet, this little, it doesn't matter. We'll do the recommended charts. So they're doing their best to figure out what you want, but oftentimes they don't know. Excel doesn't know. So here's some options that they're like, hey, these look good. So all charts, though, you can select your own. So you know what I kind of like? I kind of like that one, except that the colors are wrong, aren't they? Well, yeah, yeah. I guess that I could go in and change the colors one at a time. That would be a pain, but you could do that. But either one of these is great. This one looks prettier to me, though, so I'm going to choose that. By the way, just so you know, we aren't going to go over this here, but there are also pie charts, and we'll talk about this in relation to the homework in just a minute. Pie charts are useful when you have something that is divided into, like you have the whole group, like everyone here that I've divided into subgroups. Like if this was the favorite colors of everyone in this class and there was no overlap. So that's the key with pie charts. You don't want overlap between the two groups. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to use a pie chart. So it looks like roughly 1/6. I mean, some of these are a little bit bigger than others, but it's kind of interesting. But I don't want a pie chart. I want, where do I want? I want the column chart. I want this one. So let's do that one. Select it and click OK. Oh, that's so pretty. Now, the way that I would, one. Okay, we probably want color, format axis. How do I get this? Just a minute. Format axis. Yeah, that's no good. I don't like that anymore. I'm going to delete it. I don't know why it's just got a 1 down there. I'm going to delete this. Okay, let me try again. Insert, chart, and I'm going to go with this one. So if you were all charts, I would go with this one. That one's better. We can still doctor this up. Now, this bar chart, it's important that there is a gap. So you remember histograms? Put them right next to each other. Here, gap, 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 gap. You want the gap. You can adjust the gap size, but don't make it 0. So you can do whatever you want. You can also, let's see if I can change the color of a single column. Let's see if I format data point. Let's see. So anyway, if you right click anything, or for you Mac people, is it double touch? I don't know. I don't know, Mac. I have trouble with that. But anyway, you can, so I selected just the purple. I can go in here and I can change the fill, solid fill, color. Can I change the color to purple? I don't see purple on my list. How about that? That looks okay. It's not really purple, whatever, more magenta. I could find that color? Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute, is that color? Oh, I just didn't see it. Oh yeah, that's much more purple. Yeah, on my screen, it's cut off for some reason. I think oh, I see. Okay, I can see the whole screen now. Yeah, so the people watching the video, it was askew in my video recording software. So it's correct now. Anyway, I could go through and fix all of these. You can do other things with your charts. There's all sorts of options up here under Add Chart Element or Layout, change colors. You can do all sorts of fancy things. That would be if you're trying to make a presentation for your marketing class or your English class or whatever it is. If you're making presentations, you might want to make it look pretty. I don't care, as long as you can do it. So do what you like and be happy. Okay, so there's that. Now let's take a look at how this is going to impact how you do your homework. So here is this. Give me a sec. So if you click homework, I know we're almost down to the end here. So there are 2 things that you're supposed to do for Monday. So you can see these two items. So the first one is dot plots and bar graphs with technology. That's what we just did. So here, I'll just show you. I'm just going to show you one, just to show you what it's like so you don't get scared. It's pretty straightforward. They say, use Excel to create a line graph. Okay, a line graph instead of a bar graph. Just a sec. Just a minute. Let's make this a line graph. Hold on a minute. If they ask you for a line graph, it's basically just like a bar graph. It's insert, recommended charts, all charts. We want a line graph. Here we go, line. There it is. Really not the right graph for these data, but oh, whatever, there it is. So it conveys the same information though as a bar chart. Usually you use a line graph for other things, not for color, the colors. But so it says use Excel to create a line graph for the data, and then it asks a question about your line graph. How many times does the number of units sold increase from a number below 12 to a number above 12? So yeah, the weekly data, that's a much better use of line graphs. So I just copied my data. I'm going to paste it in here, and then we're just going to go make a line graph. But then I'm going to point out that you don't need to do this. You could do this the cheater method, and you have my blessing to do that if you need to. Okay, so is this it? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so here it is, sales. So how many times do we go from below to above? Why is this? Oh, why is that there? Save page. I don't know why this is here. Is this just a sec? That's a remnant from my Firefox. Hold on a sec. Oh, here, cancel. Cancel. So I don't know what that's doing there. What is it? Time to? Oh, it is time to go. Okay, well, do your best. Okay, so let me just mention that the second one is going to have questions about pie charts and bar charts, where you're supposed to figure out which one you're going to use. I think you'll be able to figure it out, but really, if you have trouble, send me an email, but you read the instructions, you'll be fine. I'll try to figure out I'm going to turn off the recording.